Welcome to the Building Business Podcast. You're here with Dan and Jay, where we talk all things business, battles, and balance.
Motion for Justice, a group of 4 running from the top of Australia to the bottom, with the goal to raise $1 million and save 476 kids from human trafficking through Destiny Rescue. Griff, Chels, and Flynn, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.
Thanks for accepting. I tell you what, when I heard about this, it was pretty cool. I mean, how do you get started? Like, as in, how do you know each other?
Yeah, so ultimately, we didn't know each other from a bar of soap going back like 3 months from now. Yeah. And it all came together with simply just an idea of that wanting to do something and being sick of seeing the nastiness that goes on in the world. And then I also, on the side, run a social community group and just put a post out and said, hey, this is what we're doing. We need a couple of runners. Is anyone brave enough to come along? And yeah, sure enough, the 2 bravest runners in Newcastle jumped on board. So, and then from there, the rest is history. We've been training since.
Cool. Now, I've broken my own rule. I must reverse back a little bit. I normally ask a question, something random. Protein shake or Macca's shake? What do you prefer?
Macca's shake.
Macca's shake, nice. Not for recovery, obviously.
No. Recreational purposes.
Yeah. Mid-run, maybe. Yeah, protein shake. I don't know the last time I had a Macca's shake. I'm sure, actually, now that you mention it, wouldn't be bad mid-run.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I got one to fire back.
Change.
Yeah. I got one to fire back at you. I'm allowed chips with it. Have you ever done that? Like you dip it?
Chips? No, but I know people who do.
You got to get it real thick.
In their Sundays as well.
Real thick.
The chip dip in the Sundays.
Yeah.
Wow.
Guilty.
Okay, so you're going Macca's shake with the chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
That's allowed.
Carb loading, is that right?
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of
We need
carbs
a
in
lot
it.
of
Something like that.
Yeah.
Actually, just on that, when you run, you're going to run all this. You're doing, to quantify it, 6,000 kilometres, right? 75 kilometres a day, and mini breaks, I'm assuming, for food and bandages and, patch up the blisters, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
How much are you going to eat?
A lot.
Lots.
Already, I personally am already eating a lot just to get through the training.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think our current plan is like we'll have to wake up and have a pretty big breakfast early, and then we'll do about half of, so 35 to 40K, have a stop for lunch, and then go again in the Arvo evening. But while we're going, we'll have to be like snacking. So already on training runs, like we all bring little snacks with us.
Yeah. Because do you have the little belt with all the, here's the little gel pack and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I interchange between a belt and pockets and a vest, and yeah.
Because that's the other thing too. We're going to have big breakfast. There's nothing worse than running after having a big breakfast, isn't there? Like, your guts are full and you're like, that's not cool. And then you go, but I got to because I need the fuel. You're going to manage that big time.
Yeah. And I think that's something you can train as well, which is really interesting. So, yeah, I think a lot of the training and living as much as we can while we still are working and having normal lives is trying to replicate some of how it's going to be out there. So we're going to have to be running with a full stomach like constantly, because it's going to be almost impossible to eat the amount that we need for what we're burning.
Yeah.
So
have you done the math? Like how many calories you're going to eat versus how much you're going to use?
Yeah.
It's going to be upwards of about 5,000 we'd have to eat a day.
Yeah. And that's just to you're going to burn all of that.
Yeah. It's basically a 10,000 calorie challenge for 80 days.
Yeah, basically.
Something like that.
Wow.
I think we'll burn about 5 purely from running, or I would. You guys might burn a bit more. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then your BMR will be higher on top of that. Yeah, it'll be a lot of food.
Cool. We'll get into more of the running because I'm curious how that's going to work. I mean, I'm good for 5K. You're doing 75K a day, and I don't back up the next day. You are. So tell us about the cause, right? So you come together, you recognise this is an issue, and I know it's an issue. I've supported this many times before, and different things overseas, locally even. It's crazy. So what was the moment where you went, hey, this thing, one thing, is specific and important to you? I mean, it's important, but what was the attraction, so to speak?
Yeah, for me, I lived overseas for a while. Yep. I lived in Colombia and I visited a town on the coast in Colombia, and I was there, and I didn't know it at the time, but it was quite renowned for human trafficking. And then I was out one night and I was just buying food in a street market, a busy street market, and a guy approached me and tapped me on the shoulder and asked me if I wanted to buy a young girl for the evening. And she was 4.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah. And that, like, just letting that sink in, and like, to think of a 4-year-old, like, that's a baby. Like, that is a child. And naturally, that's overseas. However, for myself, like, when everything was starting to come out with obviously like the Epstein files, and that's kind of a big thing and everyone knows about it, but nothing has been done. Like, there hasn't been a thing that's been done about it. And that, to me, I go, there's something wrong with the world. And if it's not us, then who is it? Because everyone's willing to go, oh, it's bad and something needs to be done, but who's going to actually do something? And us, and giving the voice back to the people and the ability to do something so extreme, so hard that it brings people's eyes and attention to what we're doing, and then going, this is what's wrong, this is what we need to do, we have a voice. Hopefully it just puts a bit of fear back into the people that are doing this stuff.
And that's the biggest thing, is like awareness. Like, people, like, it's a bit tough. There's a lot of things to fight for, right? And, you know, people have, you know, time and have energy, and, you know, they want to fight for something, right? There's greater good, right? But this is one that is so bad and so volatile and destroying on all levels, right? But I don't think it does get the sort of the representation or the support it really does deserve. Why do you think that is?
Honestly, it's and without trying to sound like a, not necessarily conspiracy theorist, but like you look at it and there's multiple people in high points of power that have been convicted, and that's the ones that have been convicted, not the ones that are protected. And I think it comes to a point, like the psyche of a human, when someone gets to a certain point of elitism, nothing tickles the brain. And as you just said, like, it is like the evil of all evils. And to do something like that does tickle the brain. It does go, I cannot be doing this because it's so bad. And then, so you tie that back around, you got people in power that do these things because it's the nastiness thing that they can do. And then from there, that just runs down, you know, like you've got someone that goes to the court, and a judge is friends with someone that does it, and they know it and they don't necessarily agree with it, but they go, oh, we'll sweep it under the rug. And then I think that is why, and it's slowly starting to become more and more in the light, simply because of things like this and the conversations that we're having right now that's being pushed out, and they have to do something about it.
The reason why it is so bad is because people, it's generational, where, you know, typically people can't afford food and shelter and all sorts of different things. Like, I'm going to that point where they've been in this for generations, where whether their mum had to do it, or then eventually they go, hang on, now my kids are growing into that. And then it's nearly like, will their kids grow into that? You know what I mean? And it just becomes a thing because they're so vulnerable and not supported and can't afford, and it becomes this abuse of targeting that community. And that's the problem, because it starts very early. It's not like, okay, let's say someone does murder someone. That's a choice. You know what I mean? And it's a choice typically at an older age. These people know no different, and they're into that as a kid and have no choice because that's all they know. They've grown up in it. So how do you escape something that's all you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, that's the scary part.
Yeah, completely. And I think probably as well, like, a part of the reason that it's such a huge problem, but it's so easy to overlook, is because it is so confronting to think about. And unless people experience it firsthand or see it with their own eyes, we have our own versions of, I guess, suppression of people's rights and, like, young women and children in Australia. But it doesn't, if you don't see it firsthand, it's so confronting that, like, you just don't want to face it. And you probably, it's sometimes it's nicest in the naivety of, it can't be that bad, or it's not that common, or it doesn't permeate into the way some people in Australia or in other developed countries might go about their day or treat other people. I think it's probably just a bit too scary for a lot of people to think about until you kind of have to.
Yeah, no, you're right, because it's so sickening that people mentally can't handle that, you know what I mean? Versus then you got to go, hang on, I got to think about that to be able to care for that and be able to help support it and fix it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, because it makes me feel sick, you know?
Yeah.
And to watch your video, even to take it back a few notches, I think in one of your videos it talks about even if it's just somebody that's on the door that has to invite people in, you know what I mean? And that, you know, that sole goal to be attractive and ask people inside to a pub or whatever it may be, I think it was on your video, you know, that's the surface stuff, you know what I mean? But what is accepted, like you go to Thailand and you know it's going to be a bit of an interesting place in that space, and it's what their whole community sort of thrives on.
Yeah.
Dig a little bit deeper and it's pretty nasty, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think as well, so looping back to the whole family side of trafficking, I think a lot of these families in third world countries, as an example, they've sort of, grown up doing this their whole life, and it's like they're purely having children just to sell them off to benefit the family. And you're known as a richer sort of individual based on how many kids you have and how much money you can make off of them.
Yeah.
So purely, selling them as objects, if you would.
Yeah, that's scary. And just that's confronting because there's a sort of a common dual thing going on here. One is the sex trafficking, then there's, being able to survive.
Yeah.
You know, so I guess that's the target. And I'm not saying it goes hand in hand, but it's an easy option for them to get money. You know what I mean? In their mind. But the problem is there's someone willing to pay for that too.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? That whole, okay, well, cool, we're willing to do this because someone's willing to pay for it. And it's the willing to pay for it is the thing that needs to be called out, because if that doesn't exist, then they don't need to do that either. Yeah. And then you got to go a step further and go, well, how do we support them financially and health-wise and all that too? Like, it's big. Yeah. But it's things like this that's exposing it, at least starts the conversation.
Yeah. And I think the scary part as well is that the people buying these other humans, they're not Colombians, they're not Mexicans, they're not Peruvians. Like, they are Americans, they are Europeans, they are Australians, they are most definitely Australians. And that's where it affects us coming back home. Like Australia, there's a couple of crazy statistics, but like 20% of crimes that go through the district court of South Australia are sexual crimes against kids, which is nuts to think about, like 20%. And then you also as well, Australia is the second biggest consumer of child pornography in the world. Like, and that's not per person per capita.
Did you say the second?
Second biggest. You've got America, which is number one. They've got 240 million people. Yep. Australia has what, 26, 27?
Yeah.
And then the UK is below us. And they're like 3 times our size, population wise. So you look at that and you go, okay, there's a serious problem in Australia with consumption of child pornography. And where it really gets nasty when you go like to that extent is the average age for a child being videoed and it being put out into these rings, these sex rings, is in between 11 and a newborn kid. Like, it's not a girl, like a young girl that's 16 that has hit puberty, that looks like a woman. It's not, it's a child. Like, it is a baby. And online as well, there is no limitation, because the way that it'll work, and it happens inside of Australia as well, but you'll have someone close to this child, so a father, an uncle, an auntie, whatever it may be, they'll live stream a video, and the highest bidder will get to decide what happens to the kid. And you can only imagine the type of people that are in there watching it, and then you can only imagine the nasty stuff that they want done to this kid. And then that is filmed, and then that goes out, and that happens daily, and that's over and over again. Like, there's 500,000 streams of child pornography that come outside of Australia per day. And if we're looking at it on a statistical level, like, that's 1 in 23 dudes. Not all guys completely understand, and not every one person, not every stream is just one person watching it. However, if we look at it statistically and you kind of break it down, like, not every one person is going to be watching every single day. And so, on an average, it's 1 in 23.
Oh, I did not know that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's
I
scary.
didn't know that until recently either. And you think that you're passionate about these types of, topics and challenges for people, and still you don't know this kind of stuff. And it's not even, coming from a position of someone who, stays out of it or doesn't want to know.
Yeah.
It's just not that spoken about.
I think as well with like Australia being one of the biggest consumers, it's sort of culture based. It's like when I'd found out about sort of what Griff proposed and what we were doing with this big run and what he'd spoken about coming out of Colombia, I'd just done like a 1 month round trip in Indonesia. And it's sort of like the culture that the Aussies, the Americans and people from the UK sort of have towards these third world countries. It's like if someone's out there selling themselves on the street, they sort of laugh. And yeah, it's just sort of been embedded into our culture over in these countries, which is pretty sad. And it's what a lot of the locals over there expect of us now. To accept or have a laugh, and it's like they're just degraded every single day, selling their worth.
Yeah, wow. We had a child psychologist on here, and he says, you know, the whole fear of parents and their kids going down the park and something going to happen. He's like, yeah, like super low chance of anything happening, but they're usually at home on their, you know, tablet or whatever else, and they're so exposed and the risks are so high in that, you know, and that's scary because technology is so available to kids and they are being targeted to either gamble or give information away or, you know, even here's a stat. So my kids did a course which was unreal as part of their schooling, but under the age of 16, 70% of kids via Snapchat have sent a nude picture of themselves.
Wow. 70%.
Snapchat.
Wow.
Right? 70% of kids under the age of 16. I'm like, just that alone. I'm like, hey, kids, you're not having Snapchat. You know what I mean? Like, because it's so easily called upon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there is I guess, a behaviour that is accepted and creeps into it. You know, Australians are known for gambling and how shocking we are in this country for things like that. This is way more extreme, and you're telling me we're number 2 in the world, which I never had a clue about.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You know, like that is, it's so what's the expected outcome? You mentioned, what is it, 476 kids, $1 million. You know, you kind of go, $1 million is, you know, not that much in the scheme of things, but it does make a difference. But you're like 476 only. Like, how are we not doing this to, you know, help more kids?
Yeah.
You know, more people in this industry, and we're talking not just kids. We're talking it happens older age groups and all the rest of it. So it's a start, though. This conversation is a start. Yeah, what do you want to see? Like, what happens? Like, how is this helped? What, like the 476 kids, what do they do, Destiny Rescue, and how do they exit them from this environment?
So, Destiny, obviously non-for-profit, as well as saving these children, they're doing raids as well, and they communicate with local police. So whether that's Thai police or Balinese, and they're actually taking down these individuals, the perpetrators. So they're shutting down these massive online rings as well as saving the children. So, I mean, the money that gets pumped in towards saving one child might seem like a lot, but that goes towards educating them outside of trafficking, because a lot of them don't know what life was like or what it should be like.
Yeah.
And ultimately taking down these rings that feed off these children, because it's not enough to just save the child, which is sad, because they'll just pick their next victim. So it goes towards educating them outside of the trafficking side of things and taking down the rings.
Education would be huge.
Massive.
Because if you only know one thing or a certain way, to remove them out of that environment, hey, you're loved, you're cared for, you know, this is what real life is, you know what I mean? Like not old habits, but I guess, you know, that you're ingrained in that, and it's hard to remove from that, you know, like.
Yeah, if you don't know life outside of it, it would be really easy to like fall back into it. Humans do that with everything, even any type of habit, a bad one even, we'll go back to because it's comfortable.
Yeah.
I think that was something that was really interesting and so important to learn about Destiny Rescue, is the work that they do in education and then retraining as well. Like we had a meeting with them, with one of their undercover agents, and he told a story that I believe was on their website too, but that he was in like a prominent area in Thailand or something, and some girls came up to him. They recognized him, that he'd saved them years
That's-
ago.
Yeah, wow.
And he said to them, "What are you doing in this area?"
Yeah, wow.
And they said, "No, we've just finished our shifts. We're nurses now."
Wow.
Yeah. And I just think that's incredible. And it's such an important piece of the puzzle, not just, the money to work with the police and gather all the evidence and do the raids, but to also make sure that like these children and young women have a future that they get to choose and they're kind of in control of and have the freedom to do that.
Do you think you'll have that opportunity yourselves personally to witness that?
I would love to. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
I sit on a couple of non-for-profit boards where, heaps of different things we do, but, it's supporting kids in India for, schooling and different things to get them out of that. They got no chance, it's put to work and, even, homelessness and different things anyway. But to see it when we went to Sri Lanka, and there was one kid I met, had the biggest smile on his face. 6 weeks ago, loses his mum, a week earlier, lost his dad. But you're like, oh my gosh, but that's sort of normal, and their behaviour was like, whatever. But to run different camps and different things we ran over there was just incredible to see the smile on their face and the love and all the rest of it, and the impact later on when, different groups go back and run for, like, the difference in the individuals is so cool. So what I'm saying is to see the impact, not just financially, but emotionally, but tangibly getting to see it would be really cool.
I would love that.
Encourage you to somehow do that. That'd be mad. So great cause, a great idea, this run, painful, a pain worth going through, no doubt, after what we just talked about. Tell us what it's going to be like. 75 Ks, 75 Ks per day, 6,000 kilometres. What's day one look like? Like you're running. I get it. There's more, more to it. Like I'm talking like you get through day one, and day one will be hard. Mm-hmm. When have you ever ran 75 kilometres back to back?
Never.
Yeah. Because even the training, you don't run 75 Ks, do you?
We do a 175K run a couple of weeks before we start.
Yeah. What was that like?
Well, no, we haven't done it yet. We will.
You will. Okay.
So the longest we've done is 50K so far.
Yeah.
Tell me 50K, right? So a bit over a marathon, correct?
Yeah.
That's painful as it is, isn't it? Like most people in their lifetime go, I'm going to run a marathon.
Yeah.
Keep done, and then they're done. Whereas you're going to run many marathons. What's the pain like the next day? Are you guys sweet the next day, like not sore, or what? How's it work? I mean, because you're all pretty fit and, experienced in this.
It's interesting. The body really does adapt. I think like we've all been running for years in our own, variations of what that looks like. And I think for all of us, the furthest we've done is a marathon. But with the training program, I mean, also it's not a race. So you're not flogging yourself for 75K a day. The aim is to just keep going. So there's a lot behind that in terms of how you pace yourself and how you eat and how you sleep and all those sorts of things that are going to make it essential to be able to get through without like
will
ruining
you sleep
your
well?
body.
You probably won't. Your
Probably
adrenaline
not.
will be running.
No,
well, at least
not.
the first night.
Yeah. But like at the moment, I think, my body's adapting pretty well to the training. Lots of extra food, extra strength training and foam rolling and like all the rehab stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be a whole different world once we're out there. So I think it's really just we get through the training program, do the best we can to put ourselves in as good a position as possible to get through it, and then we've got a plan around what it's all going to look like day to day, but we're all going to have to just be thinking on our toes and adapting because every day is going to be
Mike Tyson's famous words, everyone's got a plan till they get punched in the face. But you're better off having a plan.
Yeah.
But you probably will get punched in the face.
and to also know you'll get punched in the face and that the plan will have to change. Yeah.
I'm sure as well you probably heard the saying, like your mind's going to give up before your body will.
Yeah.
We've trained our bodies now to a point where we feel this is sustainable. Well, we do feel like that.
You kind of have to think that way.
Training sort of includes a lot of mental work as well, because we know like it's going to be very, very, very draining and tough on your head just as much as the body, if not worse. So lots of daily mental training and focus activities as well.
Because what was the guy's name who ran across Australia? What was him?
Ned Brockman.
Ned.
Yeah. I think day 2 he was like, I'm over this. They're like, I didn't realise this was uphill. I thought Australia was flat.
Yeah. I saw
And
that
it-
in his documentary.
and it's fascinating because like you say Ned Brockman in Australia and everyone knows Ned Brockman. There's a guy
I
running
just
it.
forgot his name. Sorry, guys.
But everyone knows, there's a guy running it at the moment. His name's Chad. And like, it's funny now that we're stepping in this area and you kind of look at it through a different lens where like you're almost assessing what made Ned's run big. Why did Ned blow up to hundreds of thousands of followers and national attention? But Chad that's doing it now is sitting at a couple thousand followers. Likewise, there's a Newcastle guy that actually ran it out, the same thing that Ned did, and then ran it back.
No
In the
way.
It went out and back, and it's crazy. And you kind of like go through and you assess it, and it's not actually the feat that is the amazing thing. It's what someone's willing to put up on social media and the story that they're willing to tell, and 2, the length that they're willing to go. So the amount of passion that they put into what they're doing. And Nike's actually a really good one. So when they founded, Nike brought on an athlete, and I forget his first name, but his last name was Pierre. He ended up passing away, but he was Nike's first professional athlete. And they would assess it and they're like, why does everyone love this guy? He was a middle distance runner and they couldn't pick it. Like he was good, he was great, but he wasn't the best. But everyone came out to watch him, and it was simply because he went out in every single race, every time he did it, and gave it his everything.
Yeah.
Nothing left at the finish line. And I think that's the important thing with what we're doing is that every single day that we step out there, there's a cause that we're doing it for, and we leave nothing left on the road. And that comes into obviously being smart. You can't just go out there and flog yourself and be dead at the finish
Not
line.
get through the 6,000 followers.
Yeah.
But it's important to show the highs and the lows to the audience and everyone's watching because they connect to the story, and to be willing to go to the absolute depths and then come back out and tell the whole story. Yeah, so it's fascinating. Yeah, you brought that up and Ned put that forward very well. And he's just like, he's just so willing to jump on social media and jump on and say it how it is.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing with that is the outcome of that is then more awareness to the cause.
Yeah, that's right.
In the end, the success of the physical feat is the same, but the success of like the whole mission and the purpose behind it, you know, is so much bigger because you've been able to reach and touch so many more people and get their support and get them on board.
That's so true, because you could just run 6,000 Ks.
Yeah, we could just,
Yeah,
we
awesome.
could.
No social media, no call to action, no nothing.
And
Exactly.
like that would be a great personal feat, but that's not really the
nothing
point.
in the big
Like
scheme
that's a
of
part of
things.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's it. I was just going to say, it's not even a running event. Like it is simply just a theatrical display of human endurance.
Yes.
That's all it is.
Yeah,
It's like maths, but we're running 6,000 kilometers. You know what I mean?
So it's going to be like maths, is it?
Yeah.
Dinner parties.
Your personality.
That's what it'll be. You're going to run. You're going to do no food. Load yourself up with alcohol and have Barney's the whole time. Is that right?
Pick a player.
Exactly.
Channel 9 would support that.
We could do that once at least. Maybe when we come through Newcastle and
Do you actually have a social media plan, so to speak, on the run? You know, is there certain things, like tell us about that, because you are running, you are going to be giving it all, you are going to be communicating a message. What's the plan in the socials? How do we reach more people?
Flynn's been killing it.
Yeah.
What have I been doing? So daily sort of training videos now. In every video, I'll include our message. So what we're hoping to bring for these children. I'll show people what a day in the life is like training wise at the moment. I'm real honest and raw on there now. To start with, it was tough because I'd never touched social media at all. So it was like new, unknown territory. Now I find it so easy to just stick up the camera in front of my face and I'll just say it how it is. If I'm having a bad day, all of the thousands of followers know. Everyone knows. It's not just me. I sort of chuck it down onto everyone. But leading into the run, sort of ceasing that, and we have a talented Newcastle-based videographer following us. And we'll do like lots of journaling work as we make our way down the coast,
sick.
which will be really good.
And that's what people want. They want real. You know, it's like the first time Rove, the old TV show Rove did behind the scenes during the ad breaks. It was like, cool, I wonder what goes on behind the scenes. They don't want to see the polished, perfect, whatever. They want the rawness, and that's where stories, I guess, on Insta and all that are great, because it's like, yeah, cool, nice, beautiful picture, and nice, sponsored this or whatever it may be, but it's like, I want to see you struggling. I want to see you throwing up or struggling to eat or can't sleep or whatever, because it's like, oh, far out, that's the realness.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's the stuff that's hard to look away from sometimes.
Exactly. And and it's exactly what it'll be. And especially in that first bit as well, like when we're up in the Cape York, like we're going to have 3 weeks off grid. Like it's just going to be, and we'll be able to like post whilst we're up there. We'll have Starlink and whatnot, but like food wise, and then the roads that we're on, and then, like the people up there are pretty freaking rogue as well. And like I dare say that we'll run into
have to run fast sometimes.
Yeah.
And animals, like surely there's got to be something they're going to have a go at.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. And it all ties into the story. And but people will follow along at the start, whether they know it or not, because they want to see it fail. And it's natural. Like the human brain is just more triggered and more inclined to something that instills a bit of fear or a bit of like negativity. And it's like, it's nothing on the human race, but it's just the way that we're programmed. So people will follow along in that first bit because they go, oh, I want to see him foul. How far can they push? And then we'll finish the Cape York area and we'll get down to Cairns and they'll go, that was pretty impressive, but it's a long way to Brisbane. Yeah. And then we'll get down to Brisbane and I'll go, that's not too bad. And then we start to enter New South Wales. Yeah, exactly. And we dot down into New South Wales and they go, oh, fuck. So they might do it here.
Because how many days is it?
80 days.
80 days, right? So you're doing it the right way, because you don't want to land in Victoria freezing. It's harder running in the cold, isn't it?
It's
I don't know, like as in, apart from chucking the gloves on.
I personally would rather
the heat's just as bad, but you find
well, it's going to be humid too, isn't it, up there?
The
it
sweet
would
spot.
be. Yeah. I imagine. I don't know. I've never been that far, so we'll find out.
Yeah, you're about to see things that most people haven't.
Yeah, which I'm really excited for. Like, I think as much as there's going to be a lot of pain, I'm kind of excited every day to look out for all the joy and all the things to be grateful for, and little things along the way that we otherwise haven't experienced or wouldn't have experienced, like in different areas of Australia, or even the lack of light pollution that far up. Like, I can't wait to see the sky. Yeah. And when everything's hard and hurting, it'll be nice to have those little moments to look for.
You will have to remember to look up.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what your running technique's like, but left and right maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, this is the whole way around.
I mean, this sounds really inferior now, but we'll do a 3 a.m. project walk where it's wellbeing and construction, key speakers along the way, and we'll walk 25 kilometres, and like the guys are like, oh, yeah, it's tough, It's kind of not sounding real cool now, like compared to 6,000. But yeah, the thing is, we'll say to people, look up, because we're walking through the bush and doing a different journey, and you're mostly just looking at sort of 2 or 3 square metres in front of you because you're navigating things, and then you're like, oh crap, I've actually got to look up and take it in. And that'll be a thing for you guys. And the I guess bushland and different areas you'll go through will change massively.
Yeah, completely.
So, and not quickly enough sometimes though.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that's another really positive side of like the mental training that Flynn was talking about before, because it will help prevent a lot of that mental fatigue, having all those little moments of joy and, different things to look out for and enjoy. But then also having done that work in the first hand will help us remember to look up and appreciate.
It's funny because the journey you've already done has already been huge.
Yeah.
The prep work, telling the story, the network, the people, for me, getting a chance to meet you guys and hear this, I'm keen to follow along and support you guys, because I think it's awesome. The great cause, but to actually now meet you, I'm like, I wonder how they'll go. I wonder how they'll do this, you know what I mean? So that's really good.
We're just humans. We are just people. We're not superhuman. We're not.
I don't know. You're humans doing superhuman stuff, I reckon. That's pretty crazy. There's not many average Joes that are going to go run 6,000 kilometres, let's just say. So hats off to you for doing that. How do we support you better? How do people, where do they go? How do they donate? What else can they do to support you? Are you going to have people run along with drink bottles next to you, Forrest Gump style with shirts going on, like how are you going to grow the beard? Like, what are we doing? Is there any strategy around that? Okay. I'm sure I'll follow in on your socials and see whether you're having a good or bad day and you have this massive beard going on.
Right? Everyone will still know. I'm sure.
But how do we support you?
So as we mentioned, we have Instagram is our main platform at the moment. So we have a sort of team page set up there, collaboration page, if you will, called Motion for Justice. And on there, we post all of our content through there, all of the information everyone sort of wants to see. And through that, you can access our website. So it's sort of like a GoFundMe link, Raisley. And everyone there, you can sort of read up about each of us as an individual, read about the cause. There's videos from Destiny on there, sort of explaining what they do. And then from there, you can sort of pick a runner you'd like to give your kudos to, or donate towards the pool that we have going that, ultimately helps us get to that start line.
Cool. And sponsors, have you got many on board?
Yeah, we're still in the process of that. A few so far, a few meetings still on the go, but yeah, that's another really big way to sponsor us. If anyone has the ability or knows of businesses that might, want to get behind a cause.
Cool. Give us some detail, because I want to know how so we can share this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So through the fundraising page that Flynn was talking about, then you can contact us directly either through our Instagrams, which you'll be able to find, or directly through Newey Active Co as well. Yep. The information's all online there too. And then I guess also more broadly outside of sponsorships, like follow along the page, share it. The further that we can spread, really, like we were saying before, the more awareness we can bring to the cause, and hopefully the more money that we can raise.
Got to make it loud.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Yeah. Well, we'll do whatever we can. We'll give you a couple of grand as well, because we want to support you in your journey.
Thank you so much.
I think it's amazing what you're doing. You seem like superhuman people, lovely people. So I'm keen to follow along and support you in it. So hats off to you. Yeah. And thanks for taking time out of your lives to do this whole journey, time out of your lives to do this podcast. And let's do the journey. So thanks for being part of the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Incredible. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for joining us today for the Building Business podcast. There are more episodes on the way. And if you ever need help, get in touch with C Business Solutions.